quite possibly the first Altis MX in Florida. I'm not sure, hadn't seen anybody else mention it. Long, fun wait. Good packaging. And the box does not look near as beat up. It's really more of a crate, wood, metal frame. Does not look near as beat up as the cardboard boxes I've received before. Suron arrived fine, but the box was pretty beat. I'm gonna lift the top off first. Could just do this on the bottom and lift the whole thing off, I guess. Didn't put much thought into it, just started bending. I know there's some sort of crossbar braces in here that are kind of connected to the bike. I think at the stem bolts or the stem riser. That's not too hard, really. Just put a screwdriver under it. Alright, first looks. Wires there, a little dust. So this has been where sometimes these bolts have been arriving a little bent. I can see there's a little crack in the wood here, so hopefully the wood cracked without putting too much pressure on that bolt. I could see how that holds the bike in pretty firm though using that method. The gold shocks, which I have to admit I do like that color on the shocks. I guess I'll go get wrench for that. Where is it going to be? Alright, got the Harbor Freight special here. Whatever tool we need. Let's see. More flippy overs. Wondering how much daylight we got left. I feel like it's close to 4:30, so not much. Good news is it's 65 degrees in Florida today, so cold weather power issues may be behind me. Cold weather power intelligence might be the right word. We'll find out soon enough. So some people have found loose bolts in the bottom, so I'll be careful. Just kind of pull stuff out. Slow is smooth. Smooth is fast. See if anything's captured in any plastic or on the bottom. Really not seeing anything. Some people have been getting these with absolutely zero issues. And some people have been a little frustrated with little issues they found. But so far, fingers crossed, we're looking good. Front wheel. Boom. Front wheel. Front wheel looks good. This is the hub. This proprietary hub delaying us from building our Supermoto wheels. This is going to be my front 19 and there'll be a rear 16, which is what makes this the Altis Sigma MX. We got our CST right there. Rotor is beefy. That is definitely more than the Ron had. Alright, now let's just attack the plastic. First box. Front plate. Spacers for the zip ties for the front plate. The actual display. The spacers are probably for the handlebars around the display. I do see a little free bolt. I believe that goes on one of the controls I thought I had seen, but maybe that goes to this somewhere, or maybe it's one of the little bolts here. Probably that's most likely it. So this is missing both of them, so they're both probably down there. Let's see if I see it under the rear fender. Altis fender. Aha, there she is. All right, she was just in here under this. That is all as well. I'm just gonna slip her in here so it's got somewhere to live. Electrify your freedom. Game on. Gold chain, pretty cool. First view of the wheel. Rear wheel 16 by 185. More CST rubber. Shock. Motor. Got a bike. Charger. That's a good looking charger. It feels solid too. That feels, not that I had any problem with it, but it feels beefier, stronger, already heavier duty than my stock Sur-on charger. Keys are in a bag. Should be in the bottom of this bag. No, wrong one. Kind of velvet bag on the brake handles, brake levers to keep it from scratching. It is a nice touch. It's there. Boom. And there it is. I heard somewhere that this is what makes the Altis a Hellcat. Mixed review on these guys though, because you got to use one to turn it on in one mode, another to turn it on in another mode if you set whichever one you want to be the fast mode. So in theory you can give somebody a mode that limits the bike, but if you wanted to use the bike you'd have to turn the bike off with this key and then have this key, but then the key also isn't a key, but you get two keys, but these keys aren't keys that'll turn the bike on and off. So you can't just reach down with your gloved fingers, turn the bike off when you're sitting somewhere, when the group stops, or when you stop and just know the bike's off. You gotta find this. So I'll see how I settle into this new world order here. They're much smaller than I pictured. I don't know what I pictured. And then here's the key. So the key goes under here. My little flaps down, flap up, flap down, a little piece of tape there. That's what yeah, that's gonna cut. Yeah, that gets bumped around. That's gonna come down. I mean, it got bumped around in shipping. It came down. When you're riding, that's gonna come down. I'm assuming a simple piece of tape or something. Seat unlocked. There she is. All right, we got our battery. Oh, that is heavy. There's an on-off button for if you don't have your dongles, then you can use that button to manually turn the bike on and off. Just, you won't have all the modes. It does. You just got to get the right angle on it. And there she is. Secret sauce. 98 volts. That's what's going on. Battery came with 1 bar. Plugging her in. Gonna let her top it off. Let's see, we did have a fender, front fender in there. This is what makes it stand out, these side fenders, side plastics. And we'll see how long they stay on. Kind of feels like they're on at the track and then off for more of a stealth urban mode. That's the plan, but plans will change. Okay, so handlebars. Now these are risers, 3-inch risers, part of the improvements that were made to the bike during the first weight for them. The one interesting thing was they do come with these 2 holes in them, which I think is for lining up the controls. Why that doesn't just clamp on like other dirt bikes, I'm not sure, but there's a hole there. 2 of them, I guess it needs 2. And this is a 7/8 bar, so it's not like your Warp 9s or whatever you might get to, you know, where it's a little more beefy here and then tapers out. But I will probably run them for quite a while before I even look at anything else. First look at the headlight here. Not a bad looking headlight. Mixed reviews on how well they work, but again, I typically run stuff until it needs to be replaced and then upgrade that way. So it'll probably be there for a while for me. Alright. What do we got? Stem top. Foot peg, which is nice. These are nice foot pegs. Good teeth. No need to upgrade that. That's actually, even the amount feels pretty good. Left and right with the kickstand toolkit. Altis toolkit. Other 2 bolts. Bolts clamp on the handlebars. Spring for the kickstand, caliper, and the direct mount stem riser. Up here, this bolt's loose. We got one loose axle bolt, and the other axle bolt was sitting right next to it. Very convenient place for it to be loose. I'll just screw it back in a bit, and look right here, there's another bolt loose. Not exactly sure what that little blackie goes to yet, but we'll find out. These guys working their way out, but didn't come out all the way, so that was good. And here, so just be careful pulling this stuff apart or getting this plastic out of here, as it should capture any loose parts. All right, now I have seen, I believe this is for the kickstand sensor, more parts down here. I believe this is kickstand sensor. I see the kickstand sensor here, so I am just going to throw these washers over it and put that lock ring on so it's got a place to live. Right. Caliper mount, that's built right in to the shock. A better look at the rear fork. Looks good to me. Red with blue. Red on the caliper. And of course it is the beefy Moto brakes, dot fluid, and you can see, or I can see, the much thicker pads than what you'd be used to on any other e-bike, e-ride, Sur-on, anything else that has come out before this year. And that's really what had sold me on this bike as far as purchasing the Altis, was all these things like the foot pegs, the caliper there, and everything that I would have upgraded on my Sur-on. I was to a point to where I had upgraded the controller, I was upgrading the battery. I was going to be $7,500 into a Sur-on before I even had moto brakes. You know, I was working my way towards a dual caliper foot brake and everything. So just when this came out, and the brakes, that was a big part of my decision. The volts were fine. I think I would like more amp hours as far as, you know, what battery I would have put on the Sur-on, but it just had everything out of the box that I was working my way towards. Yeah, that lined up. All right. Now the one thing, the one thing I've learned is just leave this loose for now, because you're probably going to have to slip. So I guess it clamps on. These grips are already on. Oh yeah, I guess I can go ahead and tighten it down about where you think it might go. Guesstimate it at least. Certainly seems like it's supposed to live up here. Somewhere up there, and it probably has a screw to tighten. So on the bike, what people have run into is this first batch, the wiring harness. This is, I can already tell, that is super tight right here. And those are all pretty tight right there, right here, even when the handlebars are straight. So if the handlebars turn left, it's going to tighten even more. Turn right, it's going to loosen. At the very best, it just loosens some connections up here, and at the worst, I think it can pinch and break and mess up wires. So what we're to do is to go in there. I wonder if removing the plastics is the easiest way to do it. We're supposed to get in there with the screwdriver and pull this out. Okay, so I was just able to get it. I just went in, but I came in this way, and I just slipped the screwdriver in there and turned it sideways. And you can see that little plug came out, and you can just spin that around, and it's not an issue. I guess you can cut that off or zip tie it if you want to, and maybe I'll do that down the road, but that'll just loosen, and it is more play. I mean, just sitting straight, I can see it's more play here. It was completely taut before. All right, starting to come together, looking like a bike. On this side, we've got our other brake master cylinder. Only what place for it to go would be right here. I'll just finger tighten that for now. And this guy. I saw Saronster, he just like touched it and it went on. I don't see that. Alright, I'll give it one more try. No. There we go. I'm assuming it's got to line up with those holes, obviously, but there it goes. I felt it. Okay, it landed in. Now, when that landed in where it's supposed to be here, this was tighter than you would have thought. It's pretty taut. But if you move that, I was just afraid to move the control unit closer to the grips and pull on any wires. I'm trying to keep everything, so I mean, I feel like undoing this, because that's, I mean, I guess when it turns maybe it doesn't have pressure, but I mean, it doesn't even need that much. This is just kind of holding everything. That could come off and certainly just individually zip tie. This is kind of like one monster clamp around, where if the monster clamp was even looser, it's like somebody did it and just, but I don't know, maybe that's how everybody's been running it. I do like the feel of the lever though. Like, there's a little play here, but it's grabbing, and once adjusted and dialed in and set and everything, that is everything. I'm gonna pull it close enough. I'm gonna get it just close enough for government work right now. Straight out of the box, that does feel nice. That does feel nice for a one finger, and Then this is adjustable here, so you can adjust this throw. You can adjust this throw for how far you want your brake lever in or out. It does not hit your fingers when you pull, so you could full grab that. And the bend is perfect for one finger, and it's got room for two. So you're not going to full hand it. It's only 2 fingers. But that's sweet. That's a nice setup. All right. Happy about that. Really, upgrading brakes is probably the very, 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 very first thing I recommend doing on a Sur-Ron. Yeah, this feels the same. Feels good. All right, I've seen it go both ways. I've seen it overslung the way it is in all of the pre-production videos and in the way it looks like the factory was meant to set it up. But I've also seen it underslung, which is kind of what I like, a little more down here and not in your face. You know, I kind of do like the little egg rider mount that I had before because it was so minimal and it wasn't like a screen. And this is very much more like a dirt bike than a phone bike or an e-bike, but I guess it's definitely an e-bike, an e-dirt bike, whatever we're calling them these days. But nothing fancy about these guys. They just look like they just fill the void. Yeah, that got it underslung. Let's see if I can get these to line up. Yeah, so on the front here, I just went ahead and cut this wire. It just felt like it was pulling everything tight, and I think that'll help loosen stuff up. Let me work around, move these wires where I want them anyway. Up, and look what I found. There's this bolt, and then this is not a bolt, but then I had found a stray bolt that matches that bolt, and then this bolt needs one. It needed a home, and now it's found its home. Let's see, I've been charging the battery, and looks like she's about 50%. So I gotta go do life, and then I will be back to finish the Altis. Okay, next day, back at it. Okay, back at it. Where were we? Just matching the colors on these cables. Green to green right there. Orange to orange. Just black to black. Like I said, I did take this zip tie off here, and I just kind of moved these wires around to where they had the most play, because I'll be able to come back and, using smaller individual zip ties, clean those up but give them the most play. There's been reports of these bolts being loose. Mine, I don't know if you can see it here, but there's actually a Loctite mark where these bolts, I don't know if in our batch they changed that. I wouldn't have suspected it. This was just the first MX batch. Really, my plan was to just put some blue Loctite on these. That one's loose. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna pull these out and put Loctite on them. All right, got the Loctite. Okay, wheel good, rotor good. Let's go right now. Right foot peg. There it is. So this is good. It's got the tool. Yeah. Toolkit's nice. Yeah. Oh yeah. So there we go. Get all that. There we go. This should just lift up. There we go. Perfect. Yep, so got it on the stand now, and can get the front wheel. We've got these two nuts and washers, and right through here there's a little hole that the sensor just goes. I'm assuming you'll put it through and then just try to get it to bottom out right when the kickstand's in place. So from there, 9, there it is, that's touching. We're gonna get this nut spinning on, and it's just gonna hold that in place, and as your kickstand sensor starts working or stops working. Let's see. Did Altis save me a trip to my toolbox? They did. Good on ya. I'm here at the kickstand, and I've got a screwdriver that has the springs. This is always a finesse to get the springs on. With these, I'm assuming what you want is just the basket end, the hook end, not to be going the same way. It's got 2 springs. There it is. We are hooked. And we're hooked. It's just that easy, ladies and gentlemen. Just that easy. Let's flip it up, and we got a kickstand that we're never going to adjust ever again. A caliper, so maybe this is a mount that goes on the mount. And then I know there is a way I've seen where it goes one way versus the other, and probably the only way to find out is to install it the wrong way first and then swap it around. So undo the velvet bag, unveil our beautiful Moto calipers. And all right, the one thing I have to always remind myself is once this comes out, do not squeeze the brake. Got the axle, got some grease here. Rotor goes on the left side, our right. Bag with spacers. Boom. This spacer left, spacer on our right. Everything line up as smooth and stay together without falling off. There we go. There we go. It's through the spacer, lined up. That feels pretty good. So what has happened to a few people here is that this end cap right here for the axle has snapped. I emailed Altis and they said it's 10 Newton meters to not snap it. What I'm doing is I'm just using this small tool. I'm not going to hold it at the end. I'm going to hold it in. Since I am going to go very conservative and try to not break this end cap, I am using Loctite on it. Few people have warned us not to break it, so I'm like, since I'm thinking about it, I feel like I'm going to, because it's also like your front axle, so like you want everything tight. It's not where you want to go loosey goosey, but I mean that's on. Oh god, do I do it just a little bit more? Yeah, okay, I'm just leaving well enough alone there. And yeah, even maybe this aluminum just must be a soft piece, because even my tool is now in there. feel like cycling it once or twice just to make sure it's moving. If I can tilt it, whole thing. But yeah, the bike is heavier. That's my first time. Just going to pick the front wheel up. I am going to Loctite the pinch bolts here. Now, as you walk one side tight, it'll squeeze and it'll loosen up the other side. So I find I'll go back and forth on these a couple times till it gets it. Needs to be further away. These are offset, these holes, and they're much closer to this side, so I feel like it's pulling it away from the rotor like that. So that would be my intuitive, hey, maybe it goes this way. Man, I've been in such a Loctite mood. Why not? Now I know while I've been working on the bike, I hadn't been talking about the bike too much. I'm assuming if you're watching a Altis Sigma MX unboxing build video, you're probably a little familiar. I'll get to ride it. I'm pretty excited about it. I had sold my Sur-On to get this. It'll really be once we get to ride it. That's what it's all about. Everything else has just been cyber Facebook chat talk. Boom. I do like it. Just the pads. I mean, as soon as I heard it had moto brakes on it, which now there's like 3 bikes or so between this and the E-Ride that are coming out with options for that, but that was another Sur-On upgrade I was about to do. You know, it feels like the value's there out of the box stock. I love modding. It's fun. It's expensive. So if you don't have to, I'm all about just riding and having fun. I'm not too hung up on the bike or the spec or the anything. It's just kind of how it feels, what you put together, what works for you. It's more the rider than the bike. I mean, it's always more the rider than the bike. At some point, top end speed doesn't even matter. I mean, I'm thinking once you're going above 60, I mean, what are you chasing? Like, we're going under, we're going in. The butt key feels wrong. I heard a beep. Light came on. Oh, look at that. Inside my seat, I just found a bolt, and I would have never have thought to look, but it was just in there, and now I see it's for my fender. So check them all. I didn't know to check that. I just happened to put my hand there. And most likely, I'll spend most of my time without the plastics on. This right here, a little. Pretty satisfying. Sigma ASMR on this side. Can't beat it, it's the only time. Ooh, and thank you, you got to share that with me. Alrighty. Really nothing left to do but ride it. All right, first ride, Altis Sigma MX. No adjustments, just straight out of the box. Maybe I'll test the air pressure. Let's see. Oh, pretty good. It's just straight out of the box. Boom, boom. That Chinese air is holding. We are not in park. All right, Eco Smooth. All right, just went down. I'm just squeezing the brake, bedding it in, letting go before I completely stop. And what I'll do is I'm gonna move this up to normal, get up to about 30. We'll go into sport mode. All right, I'm just gonna roll onto it. Oh. All right, sport mode, I saw 47. This is the 16-inch MX, so the sprocket, my rear sprocket is bigger, more torque, which I feel, and lower top end speed than the 1919, where you're gonna be seeing the fastest. Number plate. Just take that off. And yep. So the fender has two prongs that fit into the number plate, so they're connected. Just a little bit. Fender plastics all together. I think we did that first little test ride. I got it. All right, so now we have just got to take her out, and pretty much what we'll do is just take it for a ride and then find a place we can look at it. Had my handlebars kind of straight up, you know, and I did bring them a little more back like I would ride in moto, like our gas off-road bike. My Sur-On was a little more forward with the higher bars, but with this gear shifter and the drilled holes, the control, there's no way to adjust that for your fingers. So just by, I mean, I only moved it that much, but just by moving it that much, my thumb at a natural, I have to roll my hand under to get it to gears. That's subtle. I'm probably gonna raise those bars up a bit anyway as we go. All right, front came up in normal. All right, sport. Okay, it came up. I'm at 25. Oh, it came up at 27. I'm at 30. It came up at 30. Let's see. 35. It came up at 35. All right, it's Sigma. Whoa. I took my hands off and it was not coasting straight like I might expect. I'm gonna put it on race. Okay, it's smooth. It's not like bam. I've got it on medium throttle, I think. All right, here's my first race pool. All right, I saw 60, but the bike feels comfortable. The bike feels good. I feel like I am on an electric dirt bike. And go around. There's where it's gonna be fun to off-road on this bike. Feels good. All right. First quick little rip, and I will say that was everything as advertised. I got some wood in here, but everything pretty good. Okay, sport on 80% is coming up. It says 30. I feel like I'm going faster. I think it's just the weight of the bike, different ergonomics than my Sur-On, but my brakes are starting to bed in and I am getting one finger lock up. That is very confident. I have not touched the suspension. The rear feels stiff. I just cycled the front. It's pretty soft. I haven't put air in it or anything. It's soft. I haven't touched a setting out of the box. I would expect that. I'll pump it up for tonight. First impressions, first ride on the Altis Sigma MX. I like it. I'm happy. They did good. Long wait, but all is well. And I'd ride it all. I'd ride it more. I'd try more modes. I'd do everything. But I am gonna throw it on the charger and get it back up to 100% for a ride out tonight in town. So that's what my plan is, and I am super happy with that first rip. Now 7,500 miles and 3 years of riding a 3.5 seasons or whatever of riding a Sur-On. This does not feel like a Sur-On. It's heavier. I mean, it's a good, what is it, 60 pound, guys? I don't know. A friend's got a built up one that's about 70 pounds and 170 fully built, and this is, 30 pounds heavier than that. But it's also it does feel balanced. The Moto tires off-road, you don't even think about them. It's all grab. Even in this little bit of sandy off-road, I hit here. And then, of course, on-road, it's just not what you want. You want a pair of nice Super Motos on here. A few people have already stepped up with solutions. They're working on it. Warp 9's 3 months out. Patrick's got a solution at Rev Rides, maybe 2 months out. I think it's probably going to come out as 16, maybe 17s. And this swing arm is going to give you, it's wide, it's got room, so it's going to street tire, nice fat. You're going to have a lot of options for your dirt tires. A lot of people mention this Dunlop that they're going straight for. The rear suspension felt fine, completely fine. I hit a large pothole at speed on purpose when I went on a little off-road for a second, and the front ate it up. But when I was just pumping up and down, it was really soft out of the box. But I haven't adjusted it. I haven't put an air pump on, which you can. Haven't even touched rebound or anything of that nature. So so far, super happy. Let's see, already little ride, little branches hitting just from the little trail we went on the plastics. I like the plastics off-roading on the track. They look good. I'll probably take them off for the street urban incognito style. That's what most of our riding is. Most of our ride out rides, more urban street stealth. But so far so good. I'm happy. Altis Sigma 2025 MX.